Imagine carrying some of the world's deadliest viruses in your body without actually becoming seriously ill. Viruses such as Ebola, Marburg, Nipah, and several coronavirus, they all have been found in bats. Yet these animals, often remarkably, are healthy. At the first glance, you might think that bats possess the strongest immune system on earth. But that's not actually true. Their secret is something far more fascinating. Bats do not survive because they destroy viruses better than other mammals. They survive because they have evolved to tolerate viruses. When one of these viruses jumps from a bat into a human, it suddenly encounters an immune system that it has never experienced before. This creates what scientists call a evolutionary immune mismatch. And that mismatch is often what makes these infections so dangerous. So, how did bats evolve such a unique immune system? The answer begins with one extraordinary ability, that is flight. Bats are the only mammals capable of sustained power flight. But flight comes at an enormous biological cost. During flight, a bat's metabolism can increase up to 16 times above its resting level. Every night, its body temperature rises to about 41 degrees Celsius, similar to a high fever in humans. This intense energy production generates large amounts of reactive oxygen species or ROS. What are these ROS? Reactive oxygen species are chemically reactive molecules which damage proteins, lipids, and even DNA. Now imagine this happening every single night, right? In humans, broken DNA outside the nucleus is treated as a major emergency. Our cells assume something has gone wrong terribly, perhaps a viral infection or a severe cellular damage. Almost immediately, powerful inflammatory pathways like the STING and NLRP3 inflammasome. Okay, these are the two inflammatory pathways. One is the STING and the other is NLRP3 inflammasome. These both pathways gets activated. This inflammation helps eliminate threats. But if bats responded the same way every night during flight, they would suffer constant inflammation throughout their lives. In other words, their own immune system would become more dangerous than the damage caused by flight itself. Evolution therefore forced the bats to find another solution. Instead of fighting harder, bats evolved to fight smarter. Their first strategy is keeping their antiviral defense permanently switched on. Most mammals produce type 1 interferons only after detecting a virus. Think of interferons like the emergency warning signals. Humans wait until the virus is already inside the cells before actually sounding the alarm. Bats are different. They constantly maintain low levels of interferon alpha even when they appear perfectly healthy. This creates a continuous antiviral environment. So when viruses like Ebola or Marburg enter bat cells, they immediately encounter the environment which has already limited the viral replication. The virus isn't completely eliminated. Instead, it is kept under constant control. The persistence is low. There is a low level antiviral state, prevents the explosive viral growth while avoiding excessive immune activation. Humans, on the other hand, give viruses valuable time to multiply before interferons are produced. So bats prevent viral explosions before they even begin. Having an always active antiviral system creates another challenge. How do bats avoid constant inflammation? The answer lies in the two remarkable adaptations. The first involves, as I mentioned before, there are two major inflammatory pathways. Okay. The first is STING pathway. Normally, STING acts like an intracellular burglar alarm. If DNA appears where it shouldn't, okay, such as the viral DNA or damaged cellular DNA. The DNA shouldn't appear in the cytoplasm, which is the cellular fluid area. So if it appears like that, in that case, the sting comes in. It's like it is activated. So the sensor protein, which is known as C-GAGs, okay, C-GAGs, this activates the sting. Sting will then go and signal the production of interferons and inflammatory molecules. In bats, however, scientists discovered that the mutation in the sting protein, okay, so instead of sounding a loud alarm, bat sting responds much more quietly. The damage is detected, but the immune response stays controlled. The second adaptation involves the NLRP3 inflammasome. In humans, this molecular machine assembled during severe infection. Once it's activated, it releases inflammatory cytokines, okay, and it triggers something known as pyroptosis, which is like an explosive form of programmed cell death. This response is useful against dangerous infections. But if it is uncontrolled, it can cause extensive tissue damage. Bats prevent this by producing a protein called as ASC2. ASC2 blocks this inflammasome, which inflammasome is like a ring kind of a thing. It's a ring shaped okay machine, molecular machine, as you see here in this image. So it blocks this. So ASC2 will block the inflammasome from assembling, almost like placing a safety lock on a loaded weapon. The result is simple, that viruses will remain inside the bad cells, but the cells will not destroy themselves or trigger overwhelming inflammation. Viruses that live inside bats are constantly exposed to these low levels of interferons. To survive, they have evolved into extremely efficient and fast replicating viruses. So while they are inside bats, this isn't a major problem because the bat immune system keeps everything balanced. But once the virus infects a human, the situation completely changes dramatically. Our immune system is not prepared for this evolutionary relationship. Initially, the virus replicates rapidly, and then the human immune system suddenly will launch an inflammatory, overwhelming response. So the sting becomes highly activated. The NLRP3 inflammasome assembles, large amounts of inflammatory cytokines are released. So instead of actually protecting the body, this uncontrolled immune reaction damages the healthy tissues, blood vessels, and vital organs. This phenomenon is known as cytokine storm. In diseases like Ebola and Marburg, many patients die not simply because of the virus itself, but they die because of the immune system. But bad immunity is now inspiring a completely new direction in biomedical research. Instead of just asking how to kill viruses more efficiently, scientists are asking another question: can we safely control our own immune system? Researchers are studying bad genes and their proteins to design drugs that can gently suppress this excessive inflammation. Many experimental therapies are now focused on regulating the sting pathway and inhibiting the NLRP3 inflammasome with the goal of preventing the cytokine storms in several viral infections. These discoveries may help to treat not just the emerging viral diseases but also chronic inflammatory disorders. Perhaps the greatest lesson bats teach us is that survival is not always about having the strongest immune system. Sometimes survival depends on having the smartest one. Thank you for watching. If you have enjoyed this exploration into the fascinating world of bat immunology, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and join the Life Science lecture series for more science explained through stories and simplified. Thank you, everyone.